So while a lot of people are waiting for Sumeru update and Genshin Impact or the release of Breath of the Wild 2 for the Switch, I really want to talk about these. Yeah, it's been a long time since Genshin's release, and I remember back then people were calling Genshin a Breath of the Wild clone due to similarities. And it's really been a long time, like Genshin has changed a lot since then, with newer characters, new locations, and that also includes how they put the Oculi all over the place. And the other day, I've collected 900 Korok seeds in Breath of the Wild. It was really a pain, trust me. But that got me thinking, which game is better at handling their collectible system? With that said, let us begin. Let's start with the open world navigation. In terms of the navigation, I think that Breath of the Wild is harder compared to Genshin Impact because of how the geography of Hyrule is much bigger and wider compared to Genshin's Teyvat. Especially that some places can be difficult to explore like Faron, Gerudo Highlands, and freaking Hebra! You have to manage your stamina since the mountains in Breath of the Wild are much taller than Genshin's, and you have to manage your entire equipment, materials, and divine power. Because here's the thing. You will encounter a lot of enemies, and your weapons will break. There will be some situation where you need some materials like wood and aqua balloons. And you really need to be wise with your divine power because the divine power aren't as spammable as Genshin's E-skill. Whereas in Genshin, navigating there is easier due to how small the world is in comparison to Breath of the Wild, which is pretty understandable considering it's on mobile. And sure, there's still high mountains and all of that you have to go through, but unlike Breath of the Wild, a lot of the teleport spots are actually quite near. Like, look at the distance of those teleport waypoints. It covers the whole region of Teyvat that you can basically go anywhere within a few minutes, while in Breath of the Wild there are some specific spots where you have to force yourself to walk a few more minutes until you get there. And let's point out that some Genshin characters can do a variety of ways to explore with their E-skill, like dash their way through, fly through the air, or do Sonic the Hedgehog, while Link is helpless that without a horse, he can only run and he needs to be careful when he's going to use Revali's scale. And not to mention that in Genshin Impact, you can dash and run, while in Breath of the Wild, you can only run, but slower. Now, does that mean that Genshin's Oculi is easier to collect compared to Breath of the Wild's Korok seeds? Well, not really, because even though Genshin's open world is smaller than Breath of the Wild's, the caves in Genshin is more complicated to navigate than Breath of the Wild. And that comes to the next part, which is how difficult it is on finding the Korok seeds and the Oculi. Now, before I edit this video, I actually thought that Genshin's Oculi is easier than Breath of the Wild's Korok seeds because a lot of the Oculi are sitting in an open place, with the exception of few. Plus, the minimap helps you to notify you about it. Until I found out that the Oculi in Inazuma, the Electroculi, are noticeably more difficult and more obscure compared to the Animoculi and Geoculi. I asked some friends which Oculi is the hardest to get, and most of them answered the Electroculi because how those Oculi love sitting in weird spots and how there's literally a lot of them scattered throughout Inazuma. It is also interesting to point out that some of those Oculi are either time-gated, quest-gated, or level-gated, in which you cannot get them unless you complete the quest or level up to a certain level. In Breath of the Wild, finding those Korok seeds couldn't have been more painful to get, as they are more obscure compared to Genshin's Oculi because the minimap doesn't really notify you anything, and you have to find some kind of hint or stumble upon to find those Koroks. In which most of us probably did that during our first gameplay. And some, you have to complete challenges and puzzles to get the seeds, like for example, there's that rock formation in Lurlin Village, in which you have to complete the puzzles by bringing the rock to the rooftop, which was very difficult for me because I was figuring my head out by using the status until I found out that you can bring them to the top by using octo balloons. Or there was that time in Faron where I was trying to search this Korok seeds somewhere around this area, and I was very confused where any sign of Korok seeds until I searched online and found out that it's in the eye of the statue. Not to mention, I found out that apparently Korok seeds love to hide in these triple trees sitting in a row where you have to complete the puzzle by removing some extra apples in one tree to make it the same as the other two. in which in my first time trying to figure it out, I accidentally blew up those trees with a bomb that I have to wait for hours until those trees respawn. It's even worse that some of the stuff can be too subtle that you can actually miss that one Korok seed and it can cost you everything by having to watch an 8-hour video all over again to get that one missing Korok seed. I feel that Breath of the Wild's Korok seeds are hard because some of the seeds you have to do certain challenge or think out of the box by looking at your surroundings and notice anything unusual. In Genshin, the Oculi in the first two regions are easy, but the Electroculi one are hard to get, not only because they are hard to find, but also because of external factors like quests, offering level requirement, and time gating. That also applies to the sigils in Enkanomiya and Lumen Spars in the Chasm. Okay, speaking of those collectibles in Genshin, for the Crimson Agate, sigils, and Lumen Spars. Finding the Crimson Agate from the Dragon Spines, from what I remember, isn't really that hard like Mondstadt or Lie, though I know some of those stones are hidden in chests, in which you can know which one have the Crimson Agates in it. But don't get me wrong, but the reason I thought it's easy because there's that Crimson Wish thingy where you have to unlock it at level 8, and basically you can get them weekly until you max out. For the sigils in Enkanomiya, I'd say it's not that hard, but just can be very annoying, because not only you have to find those sigils, you have to insert them into the key thingies which usually appear on walls, and you have to switch the blocks again and again, which makes this whole process more hideous. And finally, the Lumen Spars. Probably not as worse as Enkanomiya, but hard to navigate around because all of them are inside the chasm, and it's really hideous to navigate around inside. And there are Lumen Spars which requires you by getting it from outside of the chasm that can be annoying to get. I'm looking at you. And since there are a lot of those collectibles for us to collect, how about the amount of time we have to spend to get all the Oculi or Korok seeds? Now, I have to tell you guys that I never really personally tried making a new account just to dedicate myself to collect all the Oculi in Teyvat. I mean, why would I be? But at the same time, I feel that if someone were going as far as collecting every Oculi in the world, it would have taken them a month or so depending on what characters do they have on their account. Do you really have to spend a lot of your time to get some of those Oculi like I said? Some Oculi can be obtained due to how some are time-gated and stuff, so I'm pretty sure it's going to be hard to speedrunners when there are those time-gated content to wait around. In Breath of the Wild, it took me a month to get all 900 Korok seeds, and yes, it was really a pain, but at the very least we can speedrun through, like one person have completed getting all 900 Korok seeds within 11 hours.
You guys are definitely crazy!
And yes, there's that 8-hour video of all the Korok seeds location. You guys can use the video if you want.
I can't decide whether pyro slimes taste better with salt and pepper or garlic and herbs.
Now, why do we really have to suffer to get all those Korok seeds or Oculi? Do we get rewarded for all of our pain and suffering? Pretty good question there. And that comes to the next topic. And that is the reward in-game for collecting all those stuff. Oh, right! I should get out of here before I become the next victim. Well, you see, in Genshin you will always get rewarded with Primogems, Stamina, EXP, and others every time you offer the statue of the 7 their respective Oculi until you max out to level 10 of course. And the reward in the offering system is also not bad because you get wishes and crowns from them. So basically you will at least be satisfied either way for the hard work of finding those Oculi, especially with the Primogems, cause we want them husbandos and waifus. But when it comes to Breath of the Wild, you will be rewarded with stashes for your weapons, shields, or both, depending what stash you chose. Unfortunately, it doesn't mean that all 900 Korok seeds equal to a lot of stashes. The saltiest part is that for the maximum stashes you can get from Hestu, you actually only need half of 900 Korok seeds, and the rest are just sitting there in your inventory. But if you manage to collect 900 Korok seeds, Hester will reward you something. And guess what you get? A golden poop! Yeah, it was at this very point during my Breath of the Wild gameplay that made me question everything I've done. And this happened. Yeah. Apparently, people online talk about the reason why it was made this way because the developers didn't recommend us players to get every Korok seed. As you can see how trivial every challenge is. But they knew that some completionists will get every 900 Korok seeds.
Are they seriously gonna call me out or something?
So they have to give those people something without making other players feel the need of going through the whole hassle, all because there might be some kind of OP item that will change the whole game like other games handle. And the developers come up with a shiny, perfect, golden poop.
Okay, so I don't know if it's me or not, but I feel like I'm wasting my whole life, and it doesn't really help the fact that I found out that Korok seeds are actually little Korok poops. I regret collecting tons of the
For Genshin, be a whale and spend all those money you have. I'm just kidding. But in all seriousness, you can actually get all of the Oculi in-game with the free characters and no gacha at all. Although it is easier if you actually have characters like Xiao, Ayaka, Venti, Albedo, and all that to make your whole exploration easier. Just keep in mind that some Oculi you can't get them immediately as some of them are quest locked and stuff, so you have to take your time and don't rush yourself.
Every journey has its final day. Don't rush.
If you're struggling, you can just check TakaGJ's channel since he basically covers Genshin guide, including how you can get all of the Oculi into that. So good luck Genshin players. For Breath of the Wild, get all the runes, go get Revali skill and Mipha's Grace cause that will save you lots of your time and your life. Get a horse if you can so you don't have to walk around hours and hours. Just prepare as much equipment and materials as you can because oh boy, you're gonna spend hours on finding those creatures. Also go master your wind bomb skill and take advantage of the status because those stuff will help you exponentially. I really want to teach you guys how to do those tricks, but there are already a lot of videos covering about how to do those techniques. I'm not even sure if it's actually recommended for the newer players, but for the pro players, I'm sure you all know how to do it. Now, if you're still struggling getting some of the remaining seeds, go check out Beardbear's channel since he already covers all of the seeds, that is especially that 8-hour video of all 900 Korok seeds. I need to drink a tea right now. Now finally, we are going to the conclusions. Now, do I think that Breath of the Wild's Korok seeds are better, or Genshin's Oculi? To answer that, none of them are better than the other. It's just that, whether some of us may care or not, I feel that Genshin, Breath of the Wild, or other open world games are using those collectibles as a way of telling us to dive deeper into their virtual fantasy world. Because without those, the whole world would have been so dull to explore. Sure, it does cause us a lot of pain and suffering, but when we manage to scour every place to get the Oculi or Korok seeds, I'm sure a lot of people felt something after they accomplished it, whether that some of you guys may laugh the fact that Hestu gave you a golden poop out of nowhere, or that some of you guys are so happy to get some primogems from collecting every Oculi, but still didn't get the 5-star day 1 and lose 50-50. But after those things passed, what else are we gonna do in the game? Just messing around inside this whole virtual world? Or quit the game and find other open world games that has more content than the game that you've completed 100%? Or maybe brag and share those experience with other people so that y'all are gonna have fun with each other for a while? Maybe I'm just thinking too much, but I guess it's quite the journey from the start to the end, and I can't believe I really went that far. and I wonder how hard will it be for the Dendroculus in Sumeru, or whether that Nintendo will return the Korok seeds in Breath of the Wild 2 or not. I just hope they don't suffer us to the next level. I think I should leave it to you guys in the comment section. What are your opinion on the whole topic I ramble about, or if there's anything I missed out on. So yeah. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this whole video till the end. Go give a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, as I usually post Genshin, drawing, and random stuff. Still not sure what I'm gonna do with this channel, but I'm planning on making another video about the Cryarchon, which I'm not sure if I'm able to finish it as fast as I want, but hopefully I can. And go watch my other videos if you guys like, so yeah.